The sky over the prehistoric valley is bruised with the colors of a violent and growing mountain storm.
Lightning flickers behind thick charcoal clouds, while the air is electric and heavy with the scent of ozone. Legendary King Kong stands atop a jagged precipice, and his chest heaving as he looks down into the canyon.
He is no longer a young ape, but a seasoned warrior, and his fur matted with the ancient dust. The stakes have evolved from a simple territorial dispute into a hunt of absolute survival for the primates.
Deep within the tangled labyrinth, the Titanoboa moves like a river of living obsidian through the dark jungle. The serpent has grown even larger, and its scales hardened by age into a natural armor that reflects light. It does not slither with desperation, but moves with the calculated patience of a master prehistoric jungle assassin. The snake has learned Kong's patterns over their long history and has set a trap in the heart.
It remains perfectly still, coiled around the waterfall base, and its heat-sensing pits tracking every single primate movement.
As the first heavy drops of rain begin to fall, Kong leaps from the cliffside, using massive vines. He uses the massive vines like cables to swing down into the basin as the storm clouds break.
The moment his feet touch the muddy earth, and the waterfall explodes as the massive serpent strikes from ambush.
The primate sprawls into the shallow pool, but quickly recovers, rolling through the mud and rising with power.
He rises with a roar that rivals the thunder overhead, reaching out to grab a jagged rock shard.
The battle moves into the dense thicket, where the Titanoboa uses the verticality of trees to its advantage.
It climbs with terrifying speed, dropping from the canopy like a heavy coil of muscle to wrap around.
His powerful hands claw at the thick scales as the serpent begins to constrict with immense and deadly. The pressure is enough to collapse a mountain, but Kong finds a surge of adrenaline in the fight.
The rain has turned the ground into a treacherous slide of red clay, making every movement a gamble.
Kong finds a fallen tree trunk and heaves it like a spear at the charging serpent across the clearing.
The Titanoboa swerves as the log grazes its side, and it lunges for one final and desperate strike.
Kong meets the charge head-on, catching the snake's open maw with his bare hands in a test.
This is a test of raw physical strength that seems to stop time itself in the ancient jungle.
In a desperate maneuver, the Titanoboa whips its tail around, tripping Kong and pulling him toward the water.
As they tumble toward the dark water, and Kong delivers a devastating double-fisted blow to the serpent's head. They hit the water with a massive splash, the surface churning as the struggle continues beneath the waves.
For a long minute, there is nothing but the sound of the falling rain and the dark pool.
Then slowly the water begins to settle as the dark shape of the Titanoboa sinks into shadows.
Kong's massive hand reaches out from the depths, grabbing the edge as he hauls his weary body back. He stands at the water's edge, and water dripping from his fur, watching as the dark shape sinks deeper. Kong lets out a low, tired grunt, not of victory, but of acknowledgement that the hunt is over.
The hunt is over for today, but the next encounter is always just a heartbeat away in nature.
In the world of the prehistoric jungle, balance is maintained through the constant cycle of predator and prey.
A giant dragonfly lands on a wet leaf, its wings shimmering as the clouds begin to part now.
The serpent finds refuge in an underwater cave, waiting for its wound to heal in the cold dark.
Small dinosaurs emerge from a hollow log to forage in the damp and refreshing prehistoric forest floor.
Kong stops to drink from a clear pool,
and his reflection rippling on the quiet surface of the water.
Sunlight hits a patch of flowers, and their petals opening to catch the warmth of the new day today. A pterosaur glides over the valley, its shadow passing over the area where the Titans fought their battle.
Kong reaches a high ridge and looks out at the horizon as the sun breaks through clouds.
A broken tree branch remains as a silent remnant of the fierce struggle between the ape and snake. The river begins to clear as the mud settles, the water returning to its natural and peaceful flow.
A small lizard suns itself on a flat rock, its tail twitching in the morning light today.
Kong picks up a large fruit and eats it, sustaining his massive body for the long travel ahead.
The Titanoboa's head appears briefly at the surface of a remote pond before diving back down again.
Giant ferns sway in the wind, and their leaves creating a soft rustling sound in the prehistoric valley floor.
Kong finds a comfortable spot in a grove of trees and settles down to rest his body.
A massive beetle crawls across bark its shell, reflecting the colors of the prehistoric and lush jungle.
The mist begins to rise from the floor, creating a ghostly atmosphere in the early morning light today.
A bird with vibrant feathers lands on a branch and begins to preen its wings very carefully.
The water in the sinkhole is now still reflecting the green canopy of the trees above it.
Kong closes his eyes and his breathing slow and steady as he drifts into a deep, needed sleep.
The first stars begin to appear in the sky as the light of the day finally fades. A nocturnal mammal peeks out from its nest, ready to begin its search for food tonight.
The serpent's tail flickers in the dark water of the cave, a silent movement in the deep.
Fireflies begin to glow in the clearing, and their lights dancing among the ferns and the prehistoric trees. The valley under the moonlight looks mysterious and full of hidden and ancient life in the jungle. Kong wakes up for a moment, looks around the grove, and then goes back to his sleep. The river reflects the moon, a silver ribbon winding through the dark heart of the prehistoric jungle. A group of small predators moves silently through the grass, their eyes glowing in the dark night. The mist in the valley thickens as the temperature drops, blanketing the floor in a white shroud.
A giant frog calls out from a pond, its voice echoing through the silent and misty air.
The moon reaches its highest point in the sky, illuminating the jagged peaks of the valley mountains.
Kong's massive frame is visible in the shadows of the grove, a powerful protector of his domain.
The serpent's eyes are open in the dark cave, and a reminder of the predator that never sleeps. A shooting star streaks across the sky, and a brief flash of light over the ancient prehistoric world. The first light of dawn begins to touch the horizon again, starting the cycle of the day.
Kong stands up and stretches his arms, ready to continue his journey through the prehistoric valley today.
A thick vine drips with dew as the sun begins to rise on light sparkling on the droplets.
The Titanoboa emerges from the cave and slides onto a sunlit rock to bask in the warmth.
A group of small dinosaurs moves across a field of grass, foraging for their morning meal today. Kong walks through a clearing and learn his presence, making the smaller animals pause and watch him pass by.
The sun is now high in the sky, illuminating the entire valley with a bright golden light.
A giant beetle lands on a flower and begins to feed on the nectar in the sun.
The river current is strong and clear, the water reflecting the blue of the prehistoric sky above.
Kong climbs a high hill and looks out at the vast expanse of his ancient prehistoric kingdom. A group of pterosaurs glides through the air, and their wings catching the light of the midday sun. The serpent's scales shimmer on the rock as it absorbs the heat of the sun for energy. A prehistoric flower blooms in the heat of the day, in its petals opening to catch the light.
Kong finds a small stream and drinks cool water, his presence making the dragonflies scatter around him.
A giant dragonfly lands on a stone, its wings vibrating in the warm air of the valley. The sun begins to set again, starting the transition from the day to the prehistoric night world. Kong walks back toward his grove, and his shadows long and jagged on the jungle floor tonight.
The serpent slides back into the water, and its body disappearing beneath the dark surface for the night.
Fireflies begin to appear in the clearing again, their lights dancing among the ferns and the trees.
The valley under the stars looks peaceful and full of hidden prehistoric life in the dark night.
Kong closes his eyes and goes back to sleep, and his breathing slow and steady in the grove. The river reflects the stars, a silver ribbon winding through the dark heart of the prehistoric jungle. A shooting star streaks across the sky again, a brief flash of light over the ancient world. The first light of dawn begins to touch the horizon once more, starting a new prehistoric day. The cycle of the prehistoric world continues as the Titans remain the rulers of their ancient kingdom.